Hello, people. It's Poet, and we're on the RedCubed server, and look at where we are. This is just, I don't know. This is Inspiration Central. You can see, like, look at, ah, ah. There's just so much to look at. Just so much. Okay, so let's start. This is Dave's house, or, well, this is Dave's land. I don't know if this is anything he built, but it's on his land, so I kind of went and I'm having a look. I don't know if I'm supposed to be here or not, but I'm here. Um, okay, so let's start with this little village thing. I like it. I like the use of the gravel as much as I hate gravel mixed in with the cobblestone. Although I hate gravel so much, this would probably be better if it was all cobblestone, but whatever, it looks good, I think. Nice little houses that he's... I don't know if this was a village that he's converted into these types of things, because there are quite a few villagers here, and I don't know that he'd actually moved all of them here himself, but I think it looks really good the way that it looks now. And of course it has the sort of a castle-esque look. Now I was actually planning on building my own type of archway and wall at my city, so like I said, Inspiration Central. I like the way that this type of thing looks with the two towers. And I was planning on doing something very similar, a little bit bigger and a little bit further spaced, but I really, really like how this looks, and it's what made me come all the way out here. I had to swim for it, but from far away especially, it looks really, really good. Now, I'm going to go to this big, almost like a Doku tree, just massive tree. Let's pan view. Oh, just amazing. I think this took a lot of work. I know that my friend Haru made a giant tree like this in one of her series a long time ago, and it took her hours upon hours upon hours. So I can only imagine. I mean, first of all, harvesting all this oak. I think that's oak. Yeah. Harvesting all the oak and then putting all the pieces of leaves around it. Oh, just so much work. So I'm just blown away. I am blown away by the amount of work that this must have taken. You know, you think that I do so good, and then you see something like this and I realize I've got a lot of work to do to my place. This is a mob grinder. It says private, do not take, so I will not take. But it's kind of neat. It works like any mob grinder does, with the mobs all falling down, woo, into the hoppers. So I might do something like this too. But here is the main reason why I came here. Was for this thing, which is still being worked on, and this one, which I think is completed. Man, I like this guy's stuff. What is this coming along? Oh. So that's how it works. But this is the reason I'm here. Is for the... Oh. I see. That's what weakens them so much. Okay, well, I'm here for the iron. That's why some iron golems have fallen down here. But I love the styling. You know, using the grass as a actual stylistic block, especially when he has this giant tree. I like it. It's something that, for some reason, for some unknown reason, never occurred to me, is using grass as like a building block. So I might just have to steal a lot of ideas from this place, you know? It looks good, and I also like of course, circles. Circles are one of the things I love about Minecraft, despite it being a blocky game. So seeing nice giant circles and a circular tower like this, I really appreciate something like that. So, oh, here's another one coming. Okay. Now let's see how this thing works. We just go up to here. And we collect the iron. And we can put the rows inside of there. Oh, there's another one. So you can see that I've gathered... This is just from this place. I've used this a total of 2 times. And look at all the iron that I have. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Wow. So Each one gives me about 3 pieces of iron or so. Probably average. I like it. I love it. And just like simple things like the accent of the oak and the spruce. Ah! So good. So I want to thank Patch for leading me this way to use the iron farm. I hope Dave doesn't mind. I hope I haven't spoilt anything by showing that place. Amazing. Oh, and you can see the mob grinder working away. Mob's falling down. Giving him supplies. So hopefully that's a good payment for me taking some iron as I ran his mob grinder for a bit. Got him some rotten flesh. I think this is the main portal. Boy, this is so weird navigating this place. But I like it. I really like it. So, going through here. Oh, and he has another house over there that I didn't see. Whoa. Okay. So, how do I get back? This way, I believe. So I'm going to go this way and see where it takes me. This should get me back to the sorter, which has been worked on like crazy. You guys are going to see something amazing. And we are almost there. He's not far from the spawn compared to some people. Yep, here we are. Already back at the sorter. Look at all the different paths that are worked on now. Yay. Okay. So look at this. The floor was worked on. I think RedCubed worked on it. I think. And it looks like, oh, this nice spiral staircase down. I am very privileged to be on the server with some of these guys who know how to build very well. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Alright, so here we are back at my house, practically. Let's just call the spawn poet's house. But seriously, I want to get a portal, man. Having to walk every time so far, like whole 30 seconds. How far is it? Someone time it. Someone go back in my video. Time how long it takes me. And I'm running. Oh no, and I'm being chased by mobs. Okay, I'm running on ice. See how long it takes me to get back to my house. It's a while. Like 30 seconds of my life gone each time. Okay, here we are. We're back home. I've been working on some of the stuff, but not a whole lot. I'll show you guys my progress. Look, I put the map up here. I thought it was a nice little touch. It's just showing you, anybody walks up the map and the completion of my world. I love how it looks. I love it. I want this whole, like, when I look at this map, whoops, oh crap. Why did I punch it by accident? Come back here, slidey map. Let me put that back on. And the map. Let's not punch it off. Spin it. Okay. When I look at this map, and I'm not going to touch it, I want this to be like all of Poet's stuff. You know, this whole forest, my forest. This swamp, my swamp, you know? I want this to be just filled with all kinds of cool stuff. So hopefully that's okay with everybody. I don't think it's going to be a problem. So that's going to be worked on now. For my archway, that same archway kind of that Dave has there, I was going to build it. I was thinking about this today. Is that I was going to build it right here because I don't want to have to deal with this. And I don't want to encroach on this. So I was thinking I move it in just a little bit. I'll have to take out some of these crafting tables, this long one, tall one I mean, and I'll build it there, and the other pillar like right there. So that's how it's going to work. And each pillar, I think, each pillar is going to be about 11 blocks wide, to tell you the scale of it, and probably, oh, a good 11 blocks thick. And that'll be the wall. And I'll have wall going all the way around this place. But that's going to be a lot of work, and a lot of material gathering, and a lot of headaches and pain and suffering. So I haven't done anything with that yet. I wanted to basically just do this in this episode. Gather up stuff for the floor here. Okay, just like this. Yeah. And then put them on the bar. Please, thanks. And then just finish this off a bit. And while we're doing this, oh man, I hate when this happens. Happens every time I work on floors like this with the half slabs. While we work on this, whoops. Oh, arrow fight. I won. Come on. Get off of my house. While I work on this, I'm going to be talking about something that might be a little bit controversial. And, you know, I talk about just about everything on this channel. Stuff that bugs me, stuff that matters to me, stuff that doesn't really matter to anyone. But I like to rant, and people rant. Get this. People rant about me ranting. If you want to rant about me ranting, don't watch me rant. That's all. The series won't be for everyone. I understand that. There aren't any cute little lions or Pokemon to play with or dinosaurs that squeal at you. You know, this is basically my place to vent, my place to just enjoy being myself and talking about stuff that matters to me, as opposed to the other series where I focus on the mods. So if you don't like me ranting, then this series isn't for you, and you know, that's perfectly fine. Everybody's allowed their opinion and their likes and dislikes, and you're welcome to not like this one. You don't have to tell me about it in the comments, like stop ranting, or I don't like when you rant, or I hate this series. I don't think anybody said that. But my point is, you know, that's your choice. And I like to rant on this series. So I'm going to be ranting again today. Because it's something that matters to me, and something that, like, I find people don't want to touch on because of how controversial it is. And well, maybe it's not even that controversial. It seems that way, though, to me. Like, it just must be. Because nobody wants to talk about it. Alright. Topic is basically about race. And where you're from, and what people think of it, and, of course, racism and all that kind of stuff. And it's something that, of course, is near and dear to me, and is near and dear to most people, I think. I mean, everybody's experienced it in some way, or have been involved in it in some way, which is very unfortunate. And maybe you don't even mean to. A lot of it has to do with how you grew up. And, I mean, this does touch upon something that I talked about in earlier episodes, and I think in my Better Than Wolves series, where I did a bunch of rants and stuff as well, where, you know, you shouldn't let your parents or the people you grew up with define who you are, or what you believe in, or how you act. So when someone is a certain way, you know, are you that way because you believe that, or it's because of the way you were raised? You know, so that's something that I've always touched on. And racism can be a part of that. It's as unfortunate as it is. You know, some people... Oh, this guy just scared me so bad. Some people, they grew up with it. You know, it's a very unfortunate thing. But depending on, you know, where you're from, or who your parents are, you might have been exposed to it a lot more than most people. And it might be something that just, you know, grew on you, whether you liked it or not. So, I mean, hopefully if that's the case, you've grown as a person, and you can say to yourself, you know, well, I grew up with it, but I don't need to be a part of that anymore. I'm smarter than that. I'm better than that. Hopefully you really, truly don't believe it. Come here, killing. At least it's becoming daytime. I gotta put torches up there so bad. Okay, so let me talk about it. I mean, the reason I wanted to talk about it is because of something that... Gee, maybe I shouldn't even name names. I won't name names, but someone very close to me was saying something that I really didn't agree with. And it wasn't even something bad, you know, that's the thing. You hear it all the time. And I hear it a lot with... I go to lunch with a friend of mine quite regularly, and it's not him that does it, but a friend of his that he often invites. He's pretty, I can say without a doubt, racist. Like, there's no question. There is absolutely no question. He is being racist when he makes certain comments. And I don't know if it's the way that he was raised, or, you just can't make an assumption like that on someone either, like why they would be like that. But there are quite a few people out there where race is a huge issue, and I guess I'm just here today to say, like, I don't get it. I don't understand why. I've never really understood why. But there's two sides to it, and I'm going to talk about both sides of it if I remember, because I'll get started talking on one and I'll forget what I was going to talk about on the other. But there are two sides to it, and basically the first side is, of course, the bigotry and how I just absolutely can't stand it. And I did touch upon it when I talked about someone's language and how, you should be supportive of someone's language. You should appreciate someone for, taking the time to learn at least the basics of your language, or for wanting to interact with you at all in their language. And it goes kind of along with that and saying, people should embrace who they are. People should embrace their culture, their race, where they're from. And if you feel ashamed, or if you feel like you can't do that, I mean, then something is so wrong. And you have to realize that. And maybe you do realize that. Maybe that's the big issue. I've always wanted to be someone who wants to make people feel welcome wherever they are. And I guess it's kind of like, a customer service type of personality is, you're a guest to me wherever I'm working, wherever I am. If you're coming to visit me, you're my guest, and I'm going to take care of you like you're one of my own, like your family. It's all about customer service. To make someone feel like they should be singled out, like left out, or that they should feel different than you, I just don't understand the concept of it. I just don't get it. And maybe that's part of why I'm so against it, is that I don't think there are any positive things about racism. I mean, obviously not. But I just don't understand why it's such a common thing, I guess, is what I'm innocently trying to say. And I want to make sure everybody understands that I don't want to offend anybody. If you believe a certain thing, hey, it's your battle to fight. It's your cause. It's your whatever. I don't want to offend anyone. This is just my opinion. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Why someone should feel different, why someone should be singled out, why certain things should be said about a certain kind of person. Because to me, a person is a person, and I've said it, I think even in the last episode, you should be defined by what you do, not what you are or what you look like. So with that said, I mean, there was this person who's very close to me. They said something that, and they said it so innocently. That's the problem. That's what got me, is that they made some racist comment and didn't even realize that they were being racist. And I called them on it. I said, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't say that. And they couldn't understand why. So it bugged me. And that's what led me to talking to this. Because I kind of touched upon it in a previous episode. And I want to touch upon it again today. So, interrupting that conversation, let's look at my little automated sorter. I had Patch down here drooling over it, I think. He made this track. I'm going to have to ride on it a few times just to go in a little spinny, weird shape. But, okay, so you guys saw me building this little thing with the thing that goes this way and the other thing and the other things. So I've placed the chests like this, row by row by row by row. And underneath, you know what? I can get rid of this one. This one's a mistake. Because that row, you can't have anything. It's an ice block row. But basically, the item comes down, spits out of there, and it flows over to here, and then it goes into this chest, which is then sorted down into this chest. So you can see stuff that I've just thrown in as I'm going along, or getting thrown into the first chest, because this isn't set up yet to sort anything. Nothing there to sort it. Okay, so the items flow around along here until they find the proper chest, and they keep flowing along here, and then they go around this little corner. I can't stand how that corner has cobblestone there. Ugh. Goes along this corner here, keeps flowing and flowing and flowing, and it'll continue. And I'm going to do this wall basically all the way. Oh, there's Patch right now. Hey, Patch. So basically it'll go all the way along. I don't know how I'm going to basically make it get to that wall there. I might not do anything. Hey, I was going to ride on that. I don't know how I'm going to make it go over to this wall here. Maybe I won't. And maybe I'll just do other things. But, yeah. That's basically the sorter in a nutshell. So, should we test it? Should we put something in it? Rotten flesh. So the rotten flesh goes over like that, and it will slide across the ice, and then into the first hopper, into the first chest, down into the second chest. Yep. So that's how that sorter works. It will not fall apart. It is perfect. So we've finished this floor. We've finished some of the stuff in the sorter. I got to start working on the archway, and once I finish the sorter, it'll be nice, because then I'll be able to finish where I've broken apart this wall and taken down this thing a bit, and I'll be able to resort all of this stuff. That'll be nice. I've planted the tree farm again because I was desperate for some wood. Wait, don't repeat what I just said. Anyway, I needed the trees, needed the logs. I'll be careful with what I say now. And yeah, I just had to replant it. So this is temporary until I can find a place where my tree farm will eventually end up. But yeah, that's basically what I've been up to. Again, no work on this because this is daunting, this little thing. I look at things that Dave has made where we just were, and then I look at this and think, oh, it just needs so much work to make it look, that much more grandiose. It just needs so much more. And I need to do more. I need to get finished with my farm thing that I was going to do over there. There's just so much. But hopefully, when I'm finally done, all of these little projects, it will look like something. So, with that, okay. Let me get to the second part of that argument. And this is the most controversial part of it. Is that there are two sides to it where, yes, there are lots of people in the world who have a real big problem, whether it's how they were raised or just because they want to be jerks. They are racist people. They might not understand that they are being that, and that's what I experienced with this person I know very well, is that they didn't even know that what they were saying was wrong, and even when I pointed it out to them, they couldn't believe what they were saying was wrong, because it's just something that they grew up with, something that they heard all their lives, and it's something that they thought. But I tried to correct them in saying, nope, that is not what you say. So there is that. The other side is, of course, the side of which people who are of a certain race or culture or whatever, or religion or whatever it might be. Religion kind of touches on racism somewhat, because it's so closely related. But they get too touchy about it too, because I've always thought you should respect who you are yourself, and if someone else has a problem with it, it shouldn't be so bad that when someone says the slightest thing that might sound racist or that might sound wrong, that you get very uptight and upset about it. So, I mean, that's the most controversial part of it, because you at one point, it's very hard to say to someone something and then they say to you like, "Oh, well, that's racist. You can't say that." But it wasn't your intention at all, and what you said in your mind, and maybe this is all part of it where you don't even realize, but it gets to the point where you say something and they call you on it when you really had no intent of hurting any feelings or saying anything bad, and it was just maybe the way that it sounded. You can't be uptight about it. You should be able to laugh at yourself. You should be able to laugh at what people say. Um, and I think, like, I watch a lot of YouTubers sometimes who will say certain things. I'm gonna actually build some hoppers so that we're doing stuff on camera while we work. I'm gonna put some of this away, like that. But let me just try to get this out in proper words. Um, when someone says something, you got to be able to look at it and say, well, they didn't really mean to say it the way that I think I'm hearing it. I really am not doing justice to this argument. I know I'm not. But what I really am trying to say is, don't take everything so personally. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Don't take everything so personally. If someone says something and you don't really agree with it, well, then you don't agree with it. But honestly, you shouldn't attack someone else because of something that they say when they don't mean what. It's so hard to get the words out, and I hope you guys understand partially of what I'm trying to say. But like I say, there are those who are actually racist, and then there are those on the other side who are very uptight and will go out of their way to accuse someone of being racist when they're not. That's the two sides of it. So you got to be careful. I know that your culture is very important to you and that you got to protect yourself from what people say, because there are a lot of people out there, and I mean a lot of people out there, who will say stupid things, and maybe they don't mean it, maybe they do mean it, but you got to be able to look past it, don't let it bug you, and that's kind of the mentality that I have. And now, I almost can't throw stones, but I've been involved with a lot of different groups and what's the right word for it? Cultures? No, that's not the right word for it. But I'll give you an example, because this is the biggest cultural group in where my city is, are the Aboriginal people. And maybe it's African Americans in your neck of the woods, or maybe it's the Latino population, that are the biggest minority. But I've worked with a lot of the minority groups. In fact, one of my first jobs was an IT guy for one of the minority groups. Was basically kind of a help center for the Aboriginal youth and for the Aboriginal people in general in the city. So, like, I was right in that kind of workplace with a lot of the people there. And I mean, we all have something in our blood from one of the minorities, I'm sure. We all come from basically the same part of the world if you go back far enough. So, really, when I'm saying, like, I understand, I understand. I really, really, truly do. Because I've worked with them, I've lived with them, and I am one myself, and it's just part of, the culture that we're in. I want to support people and everyone, and it's so hard to get this out now that I've started talking, but the point is, I understand the trouble with people these days, and what they'll say and what they'll do, and how, if you're of a certain race, you will get paid less, and people will talk to you differently, and people will do certain things differently. Like, that's just such bigotry in this world. Um, but at the same time, I'm the kind of person where I look at myself, and people might say stuff about me, say something about my own race, and say something about where I'm from, and who I am, and what I look like, and what color my skin is. Um, and I'm able to go and say, who cares? That doesn't bug me, because why should it? They don't know me, they don't use me, they don't affect me. So I'd like to suggest to everyone out there who might be a little bit touchy on it to, take a step back a little and say, you know what? I could retaliate, but I'm not going to today. Because it doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. Yes, it's a problem. No, they'll never get it. So just let it roll off you and keep going. And to those out there now on the other side who might be a little bit on the how could I say, I don't want to say that you're a racist right to your face, but if you have certain ideas about a certain type of person, then you got to really take a look at yourself and think, why? Why? And this is part of my understanding of it. I don't get it. I don't get why anybody would hate a certain person just because of the way they look like, or where they're from, or anything like that. It just doesn't make sense. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. So maybe how can I even word this? I'd hope that nobody watching this video has this problem, honestly, but it's such a huge problem that so many people are guilty of it that I gotta address it too. Is, if you are the kind of person who would segregate someone, who would get upset with someone because of where they're from, or maybe you've said something about a certain type of person, you got to step back and think about why you're doing it. Is it because of what you've learned? Is it because of the, what could possibly be? Because I've met a lot of people in my years, especially because I'm in a lot of customer service jobs, a lot of working with Aboriginal youth, and not just with the Aboriginal youth, but I also worked for a human rights commission. And working for the Human Rights Commission, you meet a whole bunch of different flavors of person, and I can tell you without a doubt that we are all the same. We have all the same issues, we have all the same problems, we get the same types of itches, we get the same types of needs and wants. In general, we are the same. We have different cultures, that's different. We have different, upbringings, but we're all human, and we should respect each other and appreciate each other for who we are. And I don't want to sound like the whole hippie type. Is that racist to hippies? No, I just don't want to sound like I'm saying love everybody, because there are jerks in the world, and trust me, I'm one to say, if he's a jerk, forget him. But, there's no reason for a lot of the stuff that I see. There's no reason for being ignorant about it in this day and age. So when this close person to me says something that's very ignorant, and I'm saying, that's not right, they should know better. You know, there's no excuse for, oh, I grew up with it these days. Especially with the internet and the fact that so much information is right at our fingertips and we can get so much and learn so much. There's no excuse for saying, well, I didn't know. How could you not? We are now, especially with the internet, a very much closer world. People watch this series from, I know for a fact, because I see the stats. I get people from India, I get people from Singapore, I get people from Australia, I get people from Scotland, like all over the world. We are all very close together now. There should never be a lack of understanding that this guy's the same as this other guy. There should never be a lack of understanding that if you have to use a certain word to describe a certain type of person, that's being racist. If you ever have to, for any reason, point out a certain person for what they are, who they are, then you gotta realize that that's not right. So that's the other side too. So you got those two sides. Is one side, you gotta be able to laugh about yourself and let it roll off you and know that you're better than the people who would be ignorant about it. And then on the other side, if you are ignorant about it, you gotta be smarter than that. You gotta learn. You gotta learn from your mistakes, I guess, and just grow as a person and realize, you know what? I don't agree. I don't agree. And I'm gonna change, and I'm gonna love everyone the hippie way. Because sometimes that's the best way. We'll see. We'll leave it at that, I guess. I've mumbled on those words for too long, and I am very sorry that I couldn't get it out in the proper words. And because of that, maybe I'll touch on it again later. But that, combined with my whole rant about language and how you should be appreciating someone for their language, hopefully it all comes together as one nice, well-baked cookie. And you can see, like, my whole point, my whole angle is that I think we're all equals. I really respect those who are from can I speak? A minority out there who really do have to deal with a lot of this crap out there. My heart goes out to you. And when I say, you got to let it go, you got to let it roll off you. There are times definitely when, something is really, really wrong and you have to speak out. But not all the time. There are times when someone's obviously kidding. And if they're kidding, then you got to realize that they're just kidding. That's what I wanted to say this whole time. So hopefully that got out now in a proper way, is that, when someone's joking about it, or when someone's, just trying to be funny, or maybe they really don't intend, and you can tell they don't intend to hurt anyone, don't call them on it and, start yelling at them about it or harassing them about it, because that's not in the spirit of our cultures. I should be able to make fun of myself for having, because my heritage is French, that, hey, if someone makes fun of French people, I'm not going to, get all uptight and upset about it. I do have some Aboriginal blood in me from, I think, 8 generations ago or so. So, am I going to get upset when someone mentions something about that culture? No. I can laugh about it too. Just the same way as you can laugh about your own culture and join in with everybody in the spirit of comedy and be able to let it go sometimes. Only when it's really serious should you go on the offensive. So I hope that I'm wording that properly. And maybe, this is the other side too, the third side. The third side of this weird shaped triangle. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am completely wrong. And you have the right to tell me, and I'd love it. I'd love it and appreciate it to get into that kind of a discussion on, basically where you're from, if you're from, a minority in America or Canada, or if, you are from a country where you have a different type of minority, or you're just from a different race that's not a minority at all. What's your take on it? I'd love to hear it because, like I said, I've worked in human rights and I've worked with different Aboriginal groups and children's youth groups and stuff like that, basically on these very issues. So I'd love to hear it from you guys in the comments, and maybe we'll touch upon it in another episode too, because I know for a fact that I didn't quite get it out in the words that I really was thinking. So with all that huge discussion done, and we've seen our sorter, and we saw Dave's amazing place. Well, Drew's place is nice too, but Dave's is amazing, and we are still working on this, and we will get it done in the next few episodes. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.